Thank you. So this is a collective speech with Samson, Maya, and all the people who are here. And I've just read my title, and it's Circulation and Co-creation of Knowledge and Know-how. So we won't talk about this. But yes, it's a question. Is circulation and co-creation of knowledge and know-how at the heart of adaptation to climate change for family farmers from the South Pacific Island? I will... Okay, it was on the other one, sorry. So I will go very fast on this slide, just for people who are not here in the morning. So CLIPSA is a research action project that serves sectoral public policies for adaptation to climate change by combining climate sciences, agronomy, and human sciences in Vanuatu, New Caledonia, French Polynesia, Wallis, and Futuna. And we have 4 objectives. And the second one is the one about characterizing issues and vulnerabilities, and we will talk about this now following the presentation of Maya and Samson. So I have said this morning what we know about expected effects of climate change is rising temperature, important issues with drought or heavy rain cyclones, rising sea levels and coastal erosion, salinization of freshwater lenses, ocean acidification, and marine and atmospheric heat waves. Rising temperatures, important issues with droughts and heavy rain cyclone will have a particularly adverse effect on family farmers. So human sciences in CLIPSA team focus its efforts on the strengths and weaknesses of family farmers in examining how family farmers bring together knowledge and know-how of today, combining a wide range of experience, knowledge, and expertise. So as I presented also in the morning, we consider that there is a culture of risk, a local culture of risk, or an oceanian culture of risk, knowledge that people have to adapt. And there are transformation of the knowledge nowadays and expertise also in line with social, cultural, economic, and political transformation. And there is also an evolution of the means of access to knowledge as well as the actors involved in the transmission of knowledge. So sorry for the people who are here the morning, but it was important for the others to have this. So we had ethnographic research carried out in the 4 archipelagos on what for. We'd like to analyze the influence of the nature of the knowledge, its vitality, and the diversity of sources mobilized by farmers to acquire, adjust it, and the degree of vulnerability of people, and the management of this hazard and their consequences. So we are talking about vulnerability and about potential and fragility. We put the both on this word. I think we should have a definition for each of our introductions. We want also to identify and analyze contrasts, similarities, and differences between the archipelagos. So you have heard this morning Maya on Polynesia and Samson on Melanesia. And so we try to analyze contrast and find similarities and differences between the fieldwork. And our objective is to share a set of joint analytical frameworks and ways of translating our results and even ways of interweaving mixed knowledge. Very ambitious. We have 1 year more to do it. Last year we were this team, and a secondary team in the table on people here like Séverine Boire, Gilbert, Julien Drouin, Jean, and Valélia Monitoke were also present for the reflection or the fieldwork. And there were about 1 year and a half of fieldwork last year. So we had 4 main questions with people on the field. So we would like to have answer to this question. What do changes for farmers, for people? And what do climate change is? What do they do in the field to cope with droughts, heavy rains, long rainy season, cyclones? So you had a few examples with Samson. How did they learn what they do? And what and how did they change to cope to some extreme events? And finally, what are the material and immaterial resources that influence the evolution of farming practice? So it's a bit. I want to go on the detail of on this scheme, and I will show you others. It's a bit risky for us to present a summary of the results before we have finished, but it's also important, I think, to share this step when you have a lot of data and analysis from many places. And you want to go further to have things to share at a more important scale. So I'm going to share a bunch of analysis frameworks, diagrams that aim to make visible some of the key criteria for adaptability. So sorry, I will take a minute for this. So this is at an individual scale how when a farmer have a problem on the field in red, what are the material and immaterial resources he needs to act in the field? So we try to identify all the steps and all the barriers and opportunities to go to the good action in the field from his or her point of view. So from our fieldwork, we try to list resources mobilized by farmers to innovate and transform existing practices and knowledge. And we also do a focus on the circulation of these practices and knowledge, identify stakeholders, identify networks, and so on. So, of course, there is various decision-making sources that do exist with more or less white in the decision. Here is a list that we are continue to build with Niels and public actors next week. And oops, sorry. Oh, okay. And I jump in this slide. So most of the time, I will say that. Yeah. This graph, they emerge from one or two fieldworks, and they help us to structure our analysis, and the work is now ongoing. So I will just have a short minute for each. 30 seconds for each. In Futuna, you have the time on the. You have the time. And when is the end? Okay, okay, that's very wonderful, Chairman. So from Futuna, so we try to explain in this scheme how to mobilize local knowledge and institutional resources to deal with climate change, with some systemic resilience in the middle and more fragilities in red. I won't go on each of them, but if you want to discuss after, or because I'm not sure that we will have the time on this, you are very welcome. In New Caledonia, we worked at the beginning on how academic knowledge influence or not changes in agricultural practice. So it was the first one before the one you see before, the first test of an itinerary of knowledge. From Tahiti, Maya showed this slide this morning. We try to show how to identify systemic social vulnerability to climate change through the prism of the material and immaterial resources mobilized. Each point is one farmer with various activities. And they have various material and immaterial resources that they mobilize. And lastly, we propose a knowledge matrix to identify strengths and weaknesses and characterize their role in social and cultural vulnerability to climate change. So with a degree of, I will go on this after. So this is in progress, and maybe some of them will be not used after. It's to progress, we need to go on this. And I will only go on two schemes. This one was initiated by Samson. And yeah, usually as we are trying to formalize different patterns of knowledge circulation, taking into account those that are relatively common to all territories and those that are specific to others. And as the research progresses, we identify the triptychs of places, times, actors that are most conducive to the transmission of or co-creation of knowledge. So this diagram illustrates the process of transmission and dissemination of agricultural knowledge for a variety of yam, Wajawa, Bwilana, from New-Caledonia or Vanuatu. And the diagram shows that agricultural knowledge is primarily acquired tacitly, mainly through observation and agricultural practice, as described by Samson. And the clouds represent the nature of knowledge from tacit to explicit when they are recorded in books or media without our help. It's like this, and we observe this. Ovals correspond to the transformation process, and the rectangles highlight the key actors, the key places and channels that facilitate dissemination and exchange. So agricultural knowledge is enriched as it circulates in doing or during a dialogue in the various social places listed here, marketplace, nakamal, customary ceremony, exchange, and so on. Okay. Knowledge are discussed, criticized, valued, or conversely rejected at the end of this confrontation. Some of this knowledge is then captured and structured in the form of databases, catalogs, flyers, or books, which are now stored by certain farmers, and in some cases used, as Samson has shown, yeah. And here we see extract from a book found in Farmers' Home in Vanuatu and New Caledonia on the right. One of them lists the yam varieties, explains when and how to plant. And in some villages or islands, none of these tools are produced or circulated. So you have various contexts. And wherever we have worked, we have observed that knowledge circulates widely through formal and informal exchange, orally and in practice. The actors change according to the time, place in which they are transmitted, and the links of trust between actors also change. And in the following slide, the last one, we will look at another diagram to show the levels of interaction between actors, the level of interaction between actors and the levels of trust expressed toward them. So, So, in this very exploratory figure, we can only see the institution. It's an example from French Polynesia, done by Maya, with Maya. But it is to be imagined that we will be adding the other two pillars of the triptych, time and places, as a result of our fieldwork over the next few months. And so you can here you can see the level of interaction like this, and the level of confidence expressed by farmers in the institutions. We identify define the degree of confidence expressed by farmers. We identify forms of relative consensus among farmers we met, which go beyond the criticisms generally expressed by users with regard to a service. Many of them describe to us the nature and frequency of the exchange, the stages they had gone through on, and the errors sorry, I'm very tired. The errors that had observed, giving us a user experience, which we have analyzed globally. So you have a minimum level on the bottom. Yes, it's a conclusion. Is when there is a relative consensus expressed among the farmers to disqualify the service. And the maximum level, relative consensus expressed among the farmers as to effectiveness of the institutional arrangements. And you have public services, public establishment, agricultural education establishments, and association on the graph. So this matrix gives an overview of the ecosystem of institutional players involved in agriculture in Tahiti, as perceived by the farmers themselves. It's not a global analysis. The further the institutions are geographically from their users, the less they interact with them, and the lower the level of trust will be, or even the more distrustful it will become. Association, you can see, enjoy a high level of trust. Farmers join voluntarily and renew their membership if they consider that the level of service is sufficient. It's not the same in other countries, but we will have a look on this during the next months. So, conclusion. Sorry. Are you sure that? No, it's the last one. Okay. I just add one thing. Positioning the institution in relation to the degree of confidence on the map expressed by the farmers, and not just in relation to their status, mission, or location, also makes it possible to sketch out the most relevant times and places to involve in the valorization of knowledge. And that's what we want to continue during the next months and years. So I go directly to the conclusion. So I have said that various decision-making sources do exist and evolve with more or less weight in the decision. We will continue to explore the levers that lead farmers to move from individual decision-making factors to action, and in order to identify possible areas of adaptabilities. And so it will be explored next week with policymakers and next month on the field. And thank you for your time, and I'm finished.
Thank you!
But it was only 11 minutes.
Just one. One question. And if it's possible, Frank is free. No question, Frank. another questionnaire. Jean.
Okay. Sorry, Catherine, I know you're tired, and it's a bit of a tangent and very controversial question.
Okay. Concentration.
or comment, I don't know. You mentioned in the introduction that knowledge gained by circulating, which I totally agree upon. And in the context of access and benefit sharing, Nagoya Protocol, which is the standard and to which I do abide a lot, but I see also dangers, because if we try to link specific forms of knowledge or forms to bounded communities, is there a risk of privatizing the circulation of knowledge and sort of putting at risk how circulation among communities, across countries, can be beneficial as a public good? But I don't have an answer, so it's a hard question, but I don't know if you have thoughts on that.
Yeah, for sure, it's a question that we should have in mind. And Samson, if you want to answer, do not hesitate, of course. I think that, or Gilbert, I think that we interrogate this, and I think that we will have a huge issue when we will go back to the field to share the results, and before sharing the results to the field from where the results comes, and I think that's why it was interesting. Samsung find some of no, I will go in another way. In Vanuatu, they have a lot of things that are online. They were more advanced in climate services with indigenous and local knowledge. So I think that it can be also used for the debate with others. Some of them can be. We can use the structure of this database from Vanuatu, but there is a big problem, from my point of view. there are two issues: the issues of the knowledge itself, and the issue of the actors and of the circulation. And I don't know. It's really a drafty idea. I don't know really how we will do to share. To share this what is about circulation and which actors are really on sur le devant de la scène, online. Put in the front. Thank you. And yeah, that's a question that we have to have in mind, but I don't have the answer.